So scope refers to the visibility of your variables within your code. So it's basically like the constraints that define where you can use and refer to your variables. And the most important thing about scope is that you can only use your variables within the block of code that they are defined in. So for example here, because I defined company at the top of the main function, I can use it anywhere within this main function, from here all the way to here, and nowhere else outside of it. Here, I define my variable boss within this if statement, and it can only be referred to in that block. So if I try to use it outside of the block, like if I try to print it, it'll give me this red squiggly line and say that it can't find the name. So whenever you're defining and wanting to use your variables, just remember that it can only be used from when this open bracket starts and when this closed bracket closes it off. And another thing to remember about scope is something called variable shadowing, which is something I think is important to look out for because it doesn't really give you an visible, urgent-looking error. So in this situation right here, we have one variable called receptionist, and we've assigned it the value of Pam. And right here you have two brackets, and within it we've made another variable called receptionist, and this time assigned it the value of Aaron. And since this is within the block right here, it is only specific to this block of code. That's what allows it to have this program to not show an error by having two let receptionists. But when you try to print, let's say you have a ton of code in between, and later on you're just like, okay, I want to print receptionist. So that will eventually get pretty confusing because you will probably start to lose track of what receptionist is which one. So when you eventually launch your program and print receptionist, it'll be only one of the values. In this case, it's Pam because it's the one that is referable to in the whole main method, and so is this print statement. So in the future, just be conscious of where you define your variables so you don't get confused when you're using them later on in the program. Thank you.